Okay, and we're back. Next up on this one is going to be Hookenslice by Eric. Okay, and we're back.
33.
Next up on this one is. Sorry, every time I restart it, I have to mute it. Anyway, um, always try to preface these by saying that number one, I'm not trying to score on these. We're looking at the courses. My score may be good, it may be bad. That has nothing to do whether it's a CC viable course or not, because my score can go all over the damn place as seen on the last course. That being said, I will point out things that may be technical issues, and if they are technical issues, I will call them technical issues. The judges are not likely going to disagree with me on those points. Beyond that, a lot of the opinions that I give are my opinion only. It's things I see as a designer, and they're just things that happen to catch my eye and comments I have to have. Please don't come back on the forums or start PMing me being very upset and offended by things I had to say unless you think I said something that's very offensive, which I try very hard not to do. I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen sometimes, but I'm never trying to slam a course, ever. I need to go back in and check and see if he had certain pins he was wanting me to play. I don't remember that he did. And guys, for those of you that are designers and you're in the contest, please put in your opening thread what P's or T's and pins that you want played. Because to be honest, it's annoying as hell to have to go scroll down through 2 or 3 pages of messages on course threads where you happen to include that in there. Put it in your opening thread. Just go back and edit it. Tell us the T's. Tell us the pins. Okay, nothing that I see in right there. So, yeah, he definitely has his own take on this. So I'm gonna play these from the blue tees since there is no recommendation on it. Well, on these, Royce, one of the things were, you know, we encourage people to go ahead and make multiple tee boxes so that it can be used on other tours. I mean, you don't want something that we use on CCAM because it's 6,600 yards or something like that, and then it can't be used on Web or CC Pro because of the distance. Am I hearing rattlesnakes? Well, they're rendered useless just because of the way that it's set up. This is an interesting hole. I'm not going to say I'm a fan of some of the sculpting on this, some of the humps and bumps. This is definitely an Eric thing. I like the hills over here on the outside of it. I'm not sure that I like the hills in the middle of it, so a little bit awkward. It's got things stepped off. Some pretty solid terrain work out here in this area. I know what brush he's using to do it. I like the way he built the hills up, and then it looks like he stepped it off, like literally step STEPPED to create like the plateaus and everything. So that's a little bit different. I guess I should do practice swings, eh? Good thing about this from a CC perspective, it's a very wide open course, so you can play this just about from anywhere. So you feel like this landing area here is too tight, well, Play it to the left, play it to the right. Um, Todd, they'll send out emails for it. I believe the way that it's going to work is that you're going to play the CC Pro event for that week, and then based on how you score over the 4 rounds on CC Pro is going to determine where you're placed. But they will, they should have emails coming out here in the near future. See, these I believe are firm greens. Well, we're going to find out here on this first one. 175s. This much bend in it. What's funny is I really like what he's done with the look of his course. As far as the way he's planted it, the way he's worked it around, I actually really like it. I'm not as crazy about the really extreme gradients he has in here. This becomes a little bit unrealistic for what we're going for. I don't mind having humps and bumps in the fairway, but these are a little bit over exaggerated. Oh, and Eric, I hate the name too. That was the first thing I saw when I released, but that's Eric. Eric just doesn't give a damn. He'll tell you that straight up. That a lot of what he does is just for fun and all that, but seems weird putting something on Twitter that says Hookenslice. But if it's Stuart worthy, I'll put it up there. But these these are almost a little bit extreme, in my opinion. Where do I want to play this one at? What what bump do I want to avoid on this hole? This bunker right here needs to be lowered in the front. The front side of this needs to be lower. Back side needs to be raised just to show it off. Right now it's a hidden bunker from the tee box. It'd help the look of it quite a bit. Just lower that front a little bit, raise the back side of it, and it actually create a really cool effect right there. Slow and fast. Up to the top of the hill. It's going to hold. Now, same thing with this bunker over here on the right. Lower the front of it, raise the back side, that back right edge of it. Just gives it more depth. Gives your course more depth. This is going to be the repeating theme on the same thing with this bunker. Good sculpting on it, no problems with that, but needs to showcase his bunkers just a little bit more. Lower the front, don't have it so hilly like right here in front where it hides it, and then raise this back side of it. That way it kind of sticks up. Not only is it more functional, but looks better off the tee box, and at least lets players know that it's there. Same with that one. So this is the first one where he's really pinched us off the tee box here. Right in the bunker, probably. Good God. Can't say I'm a huge fan of the runoff here to the left, shore of the hole, but it is what it is. ADX doesn't care if he makes friends. He's too busy being a big wig in real life. Don't you know that dude's a billionaire? That dude's a caddy for real life golfers, man. Yeah, I think he's trying to make it. I'm not going to say it's a grass bunker because it's not a grass bunker, but I mean, it is something you will find on courses from time to time where there's actually not sand in there, just impressions. I mean, I've seen it before on real courses. That's probably a little bit extreme, but yeah, I agree. Be smooth. A little bit of a different looking hole. I mean, that's the thing about if you played any of Eric's courses in real life, with the exception of maybe Brittle Bush, it's pretty unconventional in what he does. Doesn't make it bad, just makes it different. I actually kind of really like this hole. It's very different. Multi-tiered green. He's done this again with the runoff, but I mean it's almost a little bit too extreme for realism right there. That's the big point. I mean, it's a neat hole in concept. Don't get me wrong, but yep, slow, slow. That was actually kind of intentional, trying to figure this damn swing out. I'm going to intentionally end up in this bunker. Wow, what a break. What a fucking break. And I knew it was going to do it too. I knew it was going to do it. It's a borderline illegal pin right there. What happens when we get to the green? Kind of a neat look to this hole. Could have done without the big hump there in the middle. Oh, go on, ball. And that was the line. I had the line and it just died. Eh. Well, it didn't turn out to be an illegal pin once I got on the green. From the overhead shot, the yellow was running down into the grid box. We have a rule, especially for CC, it tends to carry over to web as well, that no yellow or red lines in the um, grid box that the pin sits in, plus one box in any direction. So you basically got three across. No, I don't. I try not to read too much of anything before going into it. I read them when I actually start putting my score sheets together. See, Royce, we'd have in this one right here, we would not want yellow in the grid box right there at the or the grid box that the pin sits in, and then plus one in any direction. If there's any red or yellow in those boxes, as rangers, we tend to get rid of it. Yeah, he's done some really cool things on this course. He's got some crazy good planning. It's very simple, but I really like the looks of it and what he's done. The problem is he hides a lot of it and takes away from it based on what he's doing with some of his contouring. So he's created something that plays fun. It plays a little quirky, but he hides a lot of really good work. That's my first take on this one, is that he's just hiding a lot of really, really good work. What he has done, knowing that it's a CC competition, is that he's left the drives wide open. I mean, it doesn't matter if you hit fast or slow, hence the name Hookenslice. I mean, you're going to have a second shot, but I mean, it's this right here. It would be cool to have this waste bunker in your view as you're shooting into that green, but because of the way we've contoured the fairway right here, it's completely hidden. So you're only going to see it on the flyover and then maybe from the backside of the green when you're putting. And that's unfortunate. That could have been a really, really cool ass hole right there from that. Not that it's not a good hole, but just saying that he's killing his looks with some of the decisions there. Yeah, I should have lofted that a little bit more. Oh, come on. That was the line. I don't believe that putt for a second. Damn it. And he's left some. I'm liking his greens because he has left some tricky putts. At 10 feet out, but he has made it to where if you're close or if you miss your first putt, you've got a remakeable second putt. So he's not trying to double punish you on his greens. Personally, I would have blended the edge of this right here. I would have made it so steep. I would have blended that down to make it more of a hillock. I mean, it's good planning with what he has up there. Very reminiscent of what he did on Brittle Bush. But now this contouring I actually like a little bit better if you look at just the left-hand side over here, where it gets into over here, where it starts getting into this really deep stuff. But like this is a good slope to this. It just needs to end about right there. It needs to be smoother coming off this hill, how it joins up to this hill. It's just a little bit funky, but I like the way he's done the bunkers around the green. Shows just enough of those bunkers right there to let you know that they're there. Yeah, I try not to get too nitpicky on it because as designers we all have our own personal style of how we do bunkers and such. But so I can't necessarily hold people to the way that I personally do my bunkers. But thank you. Damn near missed the putt though. What you doing, Darcy dog? Yeah, you know you were bad this morning, don't you? Yes, you do. Greens are plenty big enough to house pins, so bunker over here to the left could have used a little bit of terrain work on it. Of course, he's using it for a different hole, so no, it's from the same hole that we just had right there. Kind of the same thing. It just kind of gets lost in the mix. So probably could have worked the elevation in and around it, either front or back, to make it a nice standout piece for one hole or the other. Instead, it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle for both of them. Not a bad looking hole. I like the way that green plays. It's got a little water fountain over here to the left. It's funny. It's kind of a cool looking tee shot right there. Just back to the same thing with the mounting. I don't mind the humps and bumps in the fairway, just not as extreme Goes a long way towards making it better. Smoothing the back side of this one down off into this ravine helps it. I don't mind the slide. I mean, this is pretty cool right here where it slides off down into this, so I don't mind the little gully there. But look at the green a little bit. It's so slow, like moving forward. Yeah. I think what's getting overlooked in this is the greens, that they've got movement in them. He's not using a lot of extreme. I mean, you see like a little bit of yellow here in that. He's not using a lot of extreme contouring. You can also see they've got movement. So they're not necessarily straightforward, but they're not overly punishing if you don't make the first putt. So yeah, the greens are a big time standout feature on this one thus far. I've been pretty impressed with them. So fun little shot right here. Then here he actually has created a grass bunker, and they kind of fit in well with this shot, I believe. Probably could have smoothed this side out just a little bit more coming off the green. I personally would have made that a lot more smoother, or a lot more smooth transition going right to left off the green on that side, since I have the grass bunkers on that side, but that's just me. So see, just like right here, there's enough movement in this to make it not a straightforward putt, but not so much that if we leave it short or a little bit long that we don't have a makeable putt coming back. So the 1 foot elevation is something else, but that may not stay on right there. I may have to take back my comment. Whew, boy. So, nice hole. I like that one. Really like the ideas of the waste areas he's built in. He just needs to not hide his stuff with the contouring. Ooh, there's a fun little pin right here, isn't it? See, this is not to beat a dead horse. This is my biggest issue with this course, is that with the contouring he's done, he almost makes it fantasy. Lower this little hump and bump, because it really serves no purpose there. It's not a playable area. It doesn't do anything from the tee box besides hide some really good work. It's the same thing. Imagine off the tee, if you had this waste area a little bit elevated on this side, where it runs high side at the back end to a lower side up here on the front, and that's your view off the tee. Being that right there instead of what we've got, and then you've got your bunkers and everything over here to the right. I mean, that just becomes a very impressive tee shot. That would look frickin' phenomenal. But instead, we've hidden all of our, we've hidden everything off the tee box. So a little bit of a miss on ways to make your course pop right there, in my opinion. On this, same thing as like one of the others I mentioned before. I probably would have made this a little bit more gradient than straight up and down on the edging and made it more of a hillside flowing into it. That'd have been a nice look, and it would have been a nice feed into your light rough and green complex as well. The look of it right there looks really cool. It just looks a little bit out of place with it being a straight flat elevation like it is. Other than that, really cool looking green complex. He's done some really good looks, man. He really has. He's just missed on some chances to make him shine. Oh, we must be around hole number 9 or 10. Because now what's been perfect, perfect is now fast. Oh, imagine that. Hole number 10. Imagine that. It's like freaking clockwork. Now hide and watch. The rest of this round, I'll be fighting the damn swing the entire time. Amazing. Amazing. So how much bite's going to be on this putt? This much bite? That much? There we go. Finally get one of those to freaking sink. Thanks, be smooth. Same thing, get rid of the hill here on the front left so we can see the waist area. Smooth out the contouring to there just a little bit. The hill works right there. I actually like the hill in the place where it's at. It just needs to be smoother. A little bit too exaggerated. Once again, another really cool looking hole, man. I'm really liking the course. I'm really liking the course even from the way it plays. It's just it's a par 5. It's just a little bit too exaggerated in some areas. I don't know, man. Chat shouldn't be wonky. Something that I need to do when I leave here is I need to go get my bot and get it set up to actually show the chat on the stream because people that watch this later won't be able to see it. But cool looking shot here. I like the way this is framed. This is actually a really cool looking shot. That's fun right there. I should have gone up to 40 on that. Nasty little putt right here, isn't it? Good Lord. Nasty little putt right here. Oh, missed it just on the low side. You need a little bit more brake plate into it. Yeah, that's pretty cool looking hole right there. Chat get fixed for you, Reeb. Damn, Eric. Had you just tried not to be a little bit too much of a clown with some of your sculpting on here, man, you've got a really cool fucking course on your hands. Goodness. Same thing, just this big slope like right here in the middle. You take that away, and that is a beautiful looking tee shot. And the course is very clean as well. I have to point that out along the way. That he's done a nice, clean job with his shapes and edges. Whoa, a very fast swing. Really, really. Well, between this and the next stream, I'll actually turn the bot on for so the chat will actually be up on the screen. That was my bad for not thinking about it. Yeah, really cool looking green complex right there, man. Really cool. What's funny is he's kept a lot of the same shapes, and they're very simple shapes around the bunkers, but I have not felt it get redundant yet. That's something I usually pick up on pretty fast, but he's worked them in a way that it just feels like it belongs. Reed may disagree with me on that over there in the chat, but to me, he's kept the look going. Got it. He had an idea and he stuck with it, and like I said, it doesn't feel redundant in the least. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even really felt them detract yet because I've seen a lot of courses like around the San Antonio, Houston area that do that. They use a lot of the round shapes, and then they have like the fingered bunkers kind of layered into them here and there. So cool framing off the tee right here. I mean, he's definitely kept his look going throughout the round. Though I'm not a fan of parts of it, he stayed consistent. Probably would have lopped this cut of rough out right here. Would have reused the peanut shaped brush is what I call it to kind of connect those instead of letting it run up in there. I mean, nothing technically wrong with what he has. Just from a design perspective, I probably would have blended that a little bit better. Yeah, the hill actually plays well there because it feeds your ball back into this part of the fairway. Probably a little bit too exaggerated on the back side of it, but that's a very minor thing there. Another good looking green. Just enough movement to make it interesting. Looking at that, that's pretty cool. The hills actually work really well around this green. This is one where he's gone with no bunkers. It's kind of cool how he slopes off back there. This is a pretty good design right here. Pretty good design. See, this is where that big crevice to the right of that green, where it starts interfering. If the contouring is just done a little bit smoother, it just sets everything off so much. I would like to have seen this green complex elevated. Fairway is so high right here that it kind of hides it. That would have been nice to have that up about 10 feet above the level of the fairway right there. That would have been a cool looking shot with the waist area over here to the left. The climbing up in there. It would have been a good visual. Optics, baby, optics. This is where I don't like where the sculpting comes into play because where it helps some sides, this is a little bit different. Now we're completely hidden. And you get rid of that with just not making it so extreme. That being said, I can see this using this on tour for CCM. It's almost a little bit too fantasy for what we have going on here, but playability wise, it's a good solid course. A lot of what we're talking about are aesthetics, and the name, Eric, the name. Oh my God, Hookenslice. Well, this is shaping up to be a tough matchup between him and has he got Big Cat Wayne? Probably could have made this a lot smoother than what it is. I don't mind the goalie here to the right. That's kind of a cool thing if you miss right there, but this is overblown here to the right. That needs to be a lot smoother gradient from the edge of the green down into your other one. Other than that, it's a really cool looking hole. I like what he's done with the apron over here to the left, to where if you hit up into this area, you can actually use this as a playable area, which for anything over 200 yards, I think is a cool concept because then you can play off this left-hand area and move it down if you're in between clubs. That I think works and is very successful. When I go through and play these actually for scoring, I'm going to test that out quite a bit. I may inadvertently test it out right here. Nope. Instead, I might be seeing the backside of this. Yep. Well, I was hoping to get that up there on the. I knew I was due for that. So bear with me, guys. I'm about to get this flop shot down again. It's starting to piss me off. It actually was very slow on my end from that time. I'm the one that messed the flop shot up. That had nothing to do with the swing mechanics. That was all me. So here's our closing hole. Excuse me. I always like closing and opening holes to be things that grab your attention. They need to be the standout holes. First hole, make it good to pull people into your round. Closing hole, make it spectacular to make people want to come back. You want that to be the people's or a person's final impression of what you're doing. I like the tee shot except for this. That's the tee complex for a different hole, but that looks It looks a little bit janky, unless what we have going, but a little bit of smoothness to this, and it makes it a standout course in my opinion. But, oh, bad backswing. Did y'all see that hitch in my backswing right there? Yep, that was going to be another slow fast. Glad I saw it that time. A little bit smoother, Eric. A little bit smoother. And this is a good example with your hills over there. You just make those a little bit less severe, man, and you've got a really cool looking course on your hands here. Oh, get in there. I know I played a little bit too much break in that. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. That's a lot of really interesting holes on that. I think it looks very clean. I love the ideas he had for the course. As far as just straight design ideas, I think it was great. Um, the contouring is a little bit overdone for my taste. It takes it from being what is a very realistic and very great playing course that would be right up there at the top with some other courses that have been out there to one that plays, not plays, but looks a lot more fantasy than realistic. But all in all, this is a very solid effort, and can absolutely see this being a course on tour. This is CCM delight right here. So other than that, gentlemen, I am going to get this thing booted up and save to YouTube, and I will probably go through and fix my bots for my stream so that for the next time you guys can actually see chat on the actual stream. Beyond that, I will probably give it about 10 minutes. I'll be back to do another one.